What's going on, Workforce? Brian here, and today we're talking about patch 4.4, Final Fantasy XIV, the review! Essentially just giving my overview and thoughts of the patch, having experienced the content for myself, and really just wanted to lay it out there and let you know what I think. I'd love to know what you guys think. So there's definitely some positives and some negatives that I'm going to share today. So I'm going to obviously start with the positives because I think that this patch really does move the story forward in a really good way. But I would love to have that conversation with you. I'd love to know what you guys are enjoying about patch 4.4 and about Final Fantasy XIV right now. There are some negative things, so if you're, this is hopefully not a negative video. That's not the goal. But if you guys, if you don't want to hear somebody critique the game in any form or fashion, please, I'll let you know when I start to slide into that, and you guys can then click away. That can be a good arrangement we have. I think critique is a good thing. I think to openly criticize and bash on it is a different thing entirely, and I try to make sure I do that. So with all that out of the way, with all of that being said, let's go ahead and just talk about the best thing about this patch, and that is the story. By the way, no story spoilers here. If you guys want to see those, I've already made videos on those. I'll try to include links in either the description or somewhere in a card or something like that, as long as I've got time to do so. So this story was everything I've been wanting in the story so far. I think Stormblood I thought had a really interesting story. I really loved Heaven's Word, so there's going to be a lot of comparison. I really enjoyed Heaven's Word. Anything with a dragon, automatically in love. So when I come to Stormblood, I really enjoyed it. I was really happy to see and explore these new areas. 4.1, I think from, Almingo's perspective as a sheik, I am not a crook. With Vladola's story, I thought was really interesting, getting that backstory and everything like that. I think 4.2 and 4.3 kind of had a dip. Wasn't as connected to that story, but it was obviously required. There's definitely, they were setting things up and there was some context there. 4.4, boom. I think it nailed it right out of the park. It really introduced some things lore-wise with the Azim Step that I enjoyed. I really kind of was, connected to that. I thought the dungeon and how that was integrated and how it kind of shifted from place to place was interesting. And the final boss was fantastic. So that was kind of the story. I thought the battle was really well done. I thought it was tuned right. I actually ran into some bugs. It took me 3 times to clear it. The third time I was just like, just don't bug out on me. Just don't bug out on me. And whatever event that wasn't misfiring, like I got everybody down to, it kept saying 1%, and there was nothing that was happening. So the third time was a charm, and it worked, and I cleared it, and I was able to move forward with the story. Some people haven't, said that the kind of beginning was slow. I actually personally appreciated it. I really enjoy seeing that level of detail and that care and the various things they alluded to within certain characters. Obviously, if you guys aren't aware, this from a 4.3 perspective, a certain character has decided to travel north with a band of, we'll say, vagabonds to keep everything elusive. And with that, it's like obviously some characters are worried about them. We haven't heard from them what's going on. And there's the obviously goal, and they kind of kicks us off. There's this kind of council meeting. What is happening? And so from that base, like there is so much there. And then obviously the big twist in this piece of the story and the mysteries that are now, the questions that are now come out of this, and the alluding to what could be in the future, and finally getting back to the Asians, which should not be a spoiler. That storyline and kind of positioning them as the villain and seeing what's going on with the the Empire. Yes, and yes. Like I love the story of Final Fantasy XIV. I know for people who don't really care for stories in their MMOs, that's I can't help you, but I really find it fascinating. The only thing that keeps this story, so I would say if I was going to rate it, I'd give it an A. The only thing that keeps it out of the A+ category is the randomness of the voice acting, where big cutscene voice acted, big cutscene voice acted, big cutscene voice acted, big cutscene not voice acted, big cutscene voice acted. Like, is this So I've often found myself when we're going into those cutscenes like, is this going to be voiced or not? Like, what are we going to do here? So all in all, thank you. I thought the story was great. I really think this is really setting up some really good lore, some really good story, answering questions that we've had. What's going on? Obviously I still have questions about certain characters and things of that nature. But this has me really looking forward to 4.5, obviously. to see kind of where that goes, and then we'll see what happens with FanFest in November. So you guys got a lot of opinion there. I really enjoyed the story. I wish I could go A+, but I don't know if we'll get there. You know, I don't know if any story patch could actually get A+, if not all the major cutscenes are voice acted. And I'm looking at you, you know, adventure in the north, heading towards the doomed enemy, or the doom of ourselves. Who knows? The twin doom. Anyway. Okay, so what else is good about the patch? Omega, I thought, was really satisfying. I've enjoyed the fights. I've actually enjoyed all the fights. The only thing I kind of knock Stormblood for, I think Stormblood's raid, you know, the main raid, is better than the one that was in Heavensward with Alexander. Alexander, I think, got good at the end. I think the Stormblood raids have been good, and I've enjoyed them from day one, from the beginning. This is, I think, a satisfactory ending. I would have loved to seen Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII make a return, because obviously with Kefka, but Kefka was just, it's fantastic. So going from that into here, like, how does that compare? Like, is it definitely, I felt like the high note, from a difficulty curve. Obviously our skill has increased as players. We've gotten, you know, more comfortable with our jobs. And so with that, going into this, I felt that it offered a really good challenge. I liked the various mechanics they brought in. I liked the story pieces. All in all, no voice acting with the fights. You know, for the most part, I'm trying to remember back to, you know, like, was it maybe they did and it just didn't connect with me, like obviously with Hell's Lid, or Hell's Cur, and the various, you know, primal fights being so voice acted. So for whatever reason, I'm drawing a blank. I typically think that they haven't been that voice acted outside of sound effects and things like that. It was interesting to see, you know, you guys, just warning, I'm going to talk about the raid. I like Chaos. I really like how he could do one or two things in the beginning, and that you would see the mechanics, but how he started was up to him, and that was really cool. It kind of made it feel Chaos. Midgar Stormer at the second fight. Wow, I really like it. Again, like I said, if it's a dragon, I am immediately invested in it. I love it. That's, I guess, maybe one of the reasons why I like Dragon Quest. Like, it's just like, it's got a dragon, and you know. So regardless, that fight I thought was fun. Obviously, he kind of channels various dragon elements that we've seen before, so I didn't feel like there was too many mechanics that were new. There were some twists. I know that Chaos did some twists on mechanics. I like Midgar Stormer's doing various tells before his AoE, because it's like his AoEs were really quick, so it was kind of like you kind of had to pay attention to that. Going into the third fight, Omega, the Omega robot himself, being able to do that fight, I liked the mechanic. Obviously, the action time event thing with the fists was really cool. The music, mwah, mwah, oh man, the music was great. Man, like, you guys just keep getting my money for soundtracks. And then going from that fight, I thought, you know, obviously people, and you know, I still to this day, Starbird and Larbird, you know, the struggling of which side that he's going to or not was fascinating, and a challenge. Once you kind of get your hang of it, it feels like it's something that I've been, so far, haven't had too much trouble putting it on farm. And then obviously the final fight between Omega M and Omega F, Alpha and Omega, Adam and Eve in this case. Obviously very fascinating to see where this is going to go from here. It's really cool to watch the Savage content. I'm just not in that position as a human being right now to be a Savage Raider, despite having the want to do it. You know, it's just a matter of the time and then kind of the forming of the groups. But regardless, it's cool to be able to watch that content. I can't speak to the difficulty of it. I just know that, you know, the people are getting their clears. I think they got their clears a lot faster, and I think that just it doesn't say to the difficulty. I think it says to the skill. I think those ultimate fights have really helped increase the level of skill in players, because coming off of those fights and then going into the new Savage fight, I think is just something where you're like, we've got the ultimates down. Okay, now we have this. Now our gear's a little bit better. Let's let the mechanics win and repeat. I think that overall it was very satisfying as a raid scene goes. Definitely better than I think Heavensward in this case. And then at the end of the day, I definitely would have to say this is an A as well. Maybe kind of shifting more into the A- perspective from kind of a voice thing, but the music kind of kicks it back up. So it's really kind of teetering in the A level category. And that is in and of itself is a really good thing for the quality of it. On a repeatable, farmable perspective, it does not seem something like I'm very excited about doing over and over again. It's something that, like, I look at it as more of a task right now to get checked off. Is that, you know, week starts, run the content, get the gear, get the loot, gear up, you know, my ultimate, you know, alt classes, and then just forget about it for a week, etc. So that's kind of be my plan going forward. You know, at least with, you know, 4.4 and the Omega content. Hell's Cur I thought was really beautiful. So changing topics on you guys once more. Hell's Cur, I thought the fight was really cool. The Phoenix theme was really cool. The Dance Dance Revolution mechanic, really cool. Like, yeah, you know, and so again, they keep introducing these interesting mechanics into these fights. So it's just something that, you know, while they do repeat mechanics, that's obviously fine. But to be able to see them continue to bring in new mechanics to be able to then apply to fights and other things later in the game. They keep coming up with new and interesting ways, and I really respect that. The Four Lords, I think, have been really kind of cool visually. So we've seen 2 of the primal fights through the Four Lords, so I'm wondering if we're going to see 2 more, and if that means, you know, 4.5 and 4.55, if we get 2 more Four Lord primal fights, or maybe we just get the 3rd one, or I don't know how they're going to wrap it up, but at the end of the day, it's definitely a fun fight, and I really, really appreciate kind of the voice acting. I thought that was really quite special. Okay, so that's really the positive side of it. I think for the negatives, the first negative is that when I look kind of at the patch notes, when I look at the content of the game, it doesn't feel like what we've been needing. Like, if you compare it to 3.4 to 4.4, 3.4 introduced you know, the Wondrous Tales, which was a huge boost to the game. It was a huge benefit. It added so much replayability to a lot of the old content, and not that that is gone. Not that is, you know, not that you can, you know, if you ignore that content, that's kind of on you. But that was something that was really refreshing, because if you look at this in the life of the, you know, of the expansion cycle, 4.4 introduced exactly what it introduced, with kind of 3.4 minus any kind of real, you know, major, you know, switch over from that. But what I mean by that is that I was kind of hoping for something more repeatable, and I didn't see it. And actually saying that, and being that this is kind of a real-time thought process rather than a script, is literally that the other major event that I really appreciate is the Shifting Sands of Uzanar. So when I look at that, like, we got the Shifting Sands. I love how they're investing in that content, and honestly, Shifting Sands is the most repeatable content that I can imagine right now. It is the crown jewel on it, and I would rate it as an A, because every time I've gone in, I've had a different experience, and the only thing, again, that keeps it from being where this game needs to be is the fact that you know, maps are not a cross-server thing, and that ties into Eureka, which we haven't got the next step up Eureka yet, but a lot of people aren't satisfied with it. I'm one of them, and it was, for me, it's just that I think the game is being held up by some technical things that Yoshi P's already alluded to, and we've talked about that in a specific video talking about mega servers. And from the maps and the team perspective, if we were able to do maps and be able to share as a data center, just the zones together, doing maps and doing this kind of content, I think would be so much more interesting. The Uzanar, kind of the boss rush mode that it is, the chaos that it is, this roulette that's going to happen, kind of takes the pressure off of picking a door. So I'm really, really pleased. So A, definitely. I think I'm just all over the place, guys. Hell's Cur. I would say probably for me, just I haven't really gotten more into the extreme stuff, but as far as it goes, I would say that that definitely is going to be you know, just what they did. I mean, especially going in the first time. So they're hitting on all cylinders with the battle content, repeatable content. You know, like the fact that you know, the level 70 roulette, the fact that there's, you know, if I'm not leveling, what, you know, XP isn't worthless. And I keep getting all these XP rewards of 0 because I'm doing all these things, and I'm just like, it just constantly reminds me that there's definitely some things that I want to see them do, and I wish that it kind of hit at the 4.4 marker, but maybe that's going to be something for 4.5 or something for 5.0. And that's really kind of where it falls down, and that's really where the patch is. It's just, it feels like something to come back for a few weeks, run, enjoy, get caught up on the story, and then go play another game. For people who are really enjoying and obviously doing Savage rating, this one's for you. Like, that's going to be something really valuable to you. For somebody who is leveling, you know, I'm still finishing the last 2 jobs. Yeah, I'm playing. I'm doing that on a day-to-day basis. But the patch, I think, is small. I don't think there's a lot there. There's a little bit of quality of life. They made some adjustments there. Positive stuff. Like, there is not a negative step this patch has made. That's why I don't want this to be a negative video. But the patch itself, I think, especially when compared to other patches at the similar time in history of the other expansions, this one falls short. And that does, you know, all in all, only smallly impacts the score. I'm going to have to give this patch 4.4 an A- for all that it does good, all those A's, and then really just not bringing up, you know, things that I've already expressed in other videos, and I could go into a lot of detail on that if you guys are interested. But this video in and of itself is already getting kind of long. But yeah, I think if they were able to bring and make XP worth something, then all of a sudden, boom, you know, I'm interested again. If they were able to kind of bring in maps as a cross-world data center thing, you know, that would be really interesting. I don't think I want to expect that for patch 4.4, but I was just hoping for something to say, you know, hey, like, you know, poetics are worth something again, or something where it's like, I want to go do this old content and really enjoy it and have a good time. Anyway, guys, I'd love to know, like I said, what are your thoughts? What do you think about the patch? Where am I right? Where am I wrong? How would you rate the different areas? Was there something I missed? Because obviously I kind of jumped around a little bit. Sound off in the comments below. Let's have that conversation. But for Work to Game, my name's Brian. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. Take care. Hey, it's me. Thanks so much for watching this video. You should click over here to see more videos just like it. Or you should click down here to check out our recent vlog. But you can also click somewhere down here below to hit the subscribe button, as well as check out our other info. Again, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.